From Earth, it looks like the hard part is leaving. The launch, the distance, the landing. But once the engines shut down, the real test begins. Can people actually live there? In the dust, the silence, with fragile power and air made by machines. That's what this video is about. Not the dream of reaching Mars, but what happens after you get there. Mars doesn't attack like a monster. Most of the time, it works slower. It infiltrates systems. It settles on surfaces. It grinds things down. Then, the sky turns against the base. A dust storm doesn't need to rip anything apart. It only has to block the light, cut visibility, and last long enough to matter. That's when power becomes fragile. Solar panels don't fail dramatically. They just get buried, layer by layer, efficiency dropping with each one. And clearing them isn't simple. Someone has to go outside, in a suit, in the dust, with the entire base depending on that work. But the dust doesn't stay outside. It rides back on boots, on gloves, on every surface that touched the planet. Mars follows you into the airlock, and the soil itself isn't just soil. It's chemistry, it's abrasion, it's contamination risk. Everything that touches it has to be treated accordingly. Some of that chemistry is dangerous. Perchlorates in the Martian soil can affect both equipment and human health. Even the resources Mars offers carry a cost. That's the real red desert. Not one catastrophic event, just dust, corrosion, and power loss, and maintenance that never stops. A Mars city isn't a city first. It's a life support machine. Every pipe, every tank, every cable, every system has a job, and none of them can rest. Water isn't just available. It has to be found, processed, filtered, recycled, and protected from a planet around it. Even oxygen becomes industrial. A system has to extract it from the Martian atmosphere, compress it, and keep producing more. Breathing becomes infrastructure. Food follows the same logic. A greenhouse on Mars isn't a garden. It's a controlled environment where a single failure can wipe out the crop. And when something breaks, there's no quick supply run coming. A faulty valve, a clogged filter, a cracked fitting, any one of them can become the mission. So the dream takes a different shape. A Mars settlement isn't a place to live, it's a machine you live inside. And if that machine fails, the planet doesn't forgive. Space radiation doesn't strike like a disaster. It works quietly, passing through the vehicle, through the suit, and into the body. Earth shields us in ways we rarely think about. Mars doesn't offer that same protection. Out there, the human body is far more exposed. That's what makes it so dangerous. The damage doesn't always show up right away. It can become a risk an astronaut carries for the rest of their life. And then there's the sudden version. A solar storm can turn a routine flight into an emergency shelter procedure with almost no margin for error. Protection rarely looks heroic. Sometimes it looks like two people waiting inside the smallest, safest section of the ship, just hoping the storm passes. But radiation isn't the only threat. Remove Earth's gravity and the body starts making quiet adjustments no one authorized. Bones don't need to stay as strong. Muscles don't have to work as hard. Even with intense daily exercise, the crew is fighting their own biology. Mars has gravity, but not the gravity we were built for. Even basic movement becomes a negotiation between the body, the suit, and the planet. And it doesn't stop there. The heart, blood flow, balance, strength, everything has to adapt to a world not designed for us. So before Mars becomes a home, it becomes a test of the body first, and after that, the mind. On Mars, even a simple message home stops being simple. You can still reach Earth, you just can't reach it like it's close. A signal can take minutes just to travel the distance between worlds, not because something failed, because that's how far away Mars actually is. So a face on a screen doesn't feel like presence anymore. By the time you hear them, the moment they were in is already gone. And in a real emergency, that delay gets heavy. Earth can help, but first the crew has to act. That's when isolation changes shape. It's not just being far from home, it's knowing that when something goes wrong, the first response has to be you. The delay is only the first layer. The deeper problem comes later, when the habitat stops feeling like shelter and starts feeling like the entire world. To survive on Mars, people may have to live behind walls, under radiation shielding, maybe even beneath the surface itself. Safe doesn't always feel free. Then the days start repeating. Same walls, same meals, same voices, same small space. Nothing has to break for the pressure to build. Even sleep becomes engineered. The light is artificial, night is scheduled, and after a while, the body knows something is off. That's why isolation isn't treated as a side issue. NASA studies it directly because judgment, morale, and crew cohesion can quietly degrade when people stay confined long enough. Then small things start to grow. A look lasts too long. A mistake becomes personal. A quiet room starts carrying weight. And even when everyone holds it together, the mind keeps working. It counts the walls. It hears every machine. And outside, Mars isn't waiting. It's just there. Maybe the real question isn't whether we can reach Mars. It's whether a world this hostile can ever become home. And still, some people will go. Not because it's safe, because humans have always walked toward the edge before they fully understood it. But Mars is not another Earth. It may become a destination, it may become a base, but it will not forgive anyone who arrives pretending it's easy. One question before you go. If your ticket to Mars was one way, would you still board? Leave your answer in the comments.